Rising, we're turning attention to, well, some of security, not just directly politics. We've got retired Colonel Tony Nyam joining us this morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Now, that several scenarios now. We know that, yes, we just heard the Chief of Army Staff there speaking about that panel that was set up. But we also know that there was also, I think they described it as a special standing court-martial that will prosecute officers who are caught dabbling into politics. So the army is doing a lot of this to ensure that they put themselves in the best of light. But we also do know that even before these panels were set up, there have been different proceedings, different court-martials in different areas, looking into different activities that may have involved some members of the army. But with the recent developments, do you think that these panels that have been set up by the army, how far-reaching or how do you think those decisions or those court-martials will go in giving Nigerians the impression that the army is indeed really and truly non-partisan?
Thank you very much for having me. Let me begin by thanking God for, put it this way, compelling one of the greatest Nigerian army general. Those of us in the military know that Obasanjo, Babangida, inclusive, when General T.Y. Danjuma speaks, we know who he is. He was one of the youngest general officer commanding, a real professional, and we all see him and General Kinradi as an Abisoyi, as the model in the army. General T.Y. Danjuma is not flippant. The fact that he came out to speak what, as used the word, truth to power. The consequence of that is what we're seeing by the interventions of the Chief of Army Staff. For too long, elements in the military have been complicit in support of armed Fulanese against people in the Niger, in the Middle Belt, for too long. In Kaduna State and Kaduna State, in Plateau, recurringly, in Taraba.
Well, that's part of what they've set up this committee to look into. I know that there was a response from the army about this as well. But then this panel that has been set up now, isn't that part of what they're there to look at and see whether or not there's any truth in all of those cases which you are mentioning, which wasn't even mentioned at then?
No, I was going to also to commend the Chief of Army Staff to have risen to the occasion, because that he did not follow what the politicians were doing, trying to deride T.Y. Danjuma. He has risen to the occasion. And the board he set up, which is, one of them is the board to probe the allegations whether officers have colluded or not. I commend the Chief of Army Staff. You see, the thing is this. In that board, which is being led by General John Nimniel, I just pray that General Nimniel and the board members do not do a wishy-washy probe, because this probe is so vital.
Does the army do wishy-washy probes?
I've said this particular case that is so critical that the board members of this probe should rise up. By the way...
Yeah, I get your point, but I'm asking because...
By the way, there was the Senate organized a national summit on security.
Yeah, before you come to that one,
yes.
I was going to ask, because when you say that you hope they don't do a wishy-washy job,
yes,
then there will be those who will ask, wait a minute, does that mean there has been the wishy-washy job previously at some point?
I've not suggested that. All I'm insisting is that this board, led by General John Nimniel, is so critical that it should be a board, because people's lives are at stake. As we speak, there's just been another killings in Benue. Now, what amazes people is, how do these arms, how have arms been moved?
Now,
And
still on that panel, would you rather have an independent body look at it and not the army looking at it themselves?
Thank you for that question. The way things work in the military is that there's initially a board of inquiry. After the board of inquiry is followed by other actions. And I haven't said so. I think you are right in that you should go beyond. There should be another body should be an independent board of inquiry to look at this matter. But the critical point is this, and the point is this, why I want to stress is that what General T.Y. Danjuma said, he had evidence to say what he said, because I was present in a conference, the Senate President was present, the service chiefs, including the Chief of Army Staff, was present, the former Chief of Army Staff, General Matthew Aguayo, was present, Professor Abdullahi Ango was present, the Tor of Tif was present, Representative of Ohaneze, Pendef, South Assembly, and Arewa and Afenifere were present. Where the Director General of State Service Security, who is the man who is the authority we should hear from when it comes to intelligence. Intelligence is not just any information. He disclosed, and I give him courage, that some of the arms found by the headsmen are from military and police armories. He disclosed that.
Is that part of the evidence that you said General T.Y. Danjuma has?
Of course, I'm only saying that that is part of the buttresses, that if a DGSSS, who, by the way, is a Fulani man himself.
Yeah, how does that corroborate what you said, that General T.Y. Danjuma has evidence?
That's an evidence. That's an evidence I'm giving you. That
no, I thought that was a submission by who you said made that submission, not necessarily from T.Y. Danjuma.
No. He gave, I'm saying, the DGSSS, who is the authority on intelligence, which is actionable information.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's a submission by the DG, the DSS, not from T.Y. Danjuma.
No, I'm saying that is an evidence that supports what T.Y. Danjuma came out with.
How?
Pardon? No, T.Y. Danjuma said that there's collusion between armed forces and...
you said he has evidence, and then you moved on to this submission. So I'm asking, what's the correlation between that submission and the evidence that he has?
That's an evidence. The evidence, I'm giving you that the evidence is that the DGSSS himself disclosed that some of the arms, sophisticated arms found with the headsmen was from army, military, and police barracks. And when he says so, the only person, service chiefs were there, the only person who made a remark against that was the IG, who said a few.
Okay, so military and police barracks. Okay, means
military and police armories.
Okay, means we may have to ask a question or two of police.
Yes.
On this matter.
No, and then the way to know that is that when an arms is found, they check the number and you can detect.
Okay, so now that
so
this
why
panel...
is it taking them so long too?
Fantastic. Yes. Good question. I had written the Senate President merely that in my paper, and I asked that the Senate President has a responsibility to get the army to initiate a board of inquiry. And I think, to be fair to the Senate President, this is what must have happened, as amongst other things.
Is that what led to this board of inquiry?
Amongst other things. Because I told the Senate President that they have a responsibility since this was made, and that we cannot, the invisibility of the headsmen, this is pointing to why they are so apparently invisible.
All right, so
if some of the arms there are from military and police barracks, armories, we need to, but for a long time there was a wall of silence against all this. So T.Y. Danjuma was forced to. And not only that, let me put it this way. The two people who the president listened to in this government at the beginning The two were Pastor Tunde Bakare and Tiwa Danjuma.
Okay, so does this suggest that now that this board of inquiry has been set up, and you say General Tiwa Danjuma has evidence, the natural thing people will then expect is, well, either the board of inquiry calls him or he goes and tenders those evidence. Do you think that will happen? Or should it happen?
I'm suggesting that the DG SSS should be called because he said that and there are witnesses to him that disclosure. And he's more critical in this board of inquiry.
So what about the man who you said has evidence?
Pardon?
The man you said has evidence.
No, obviously.
He shouldn't...
You are suggesting that.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking what should be done.
By implication, a board of inquiry was set up because of the allegations made by Tiwa Danjuma.
Okay, so
obviously, you'll be consulted. The army will talk with him.